Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're now watching TVS Nightline. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and let us begin with our top story. Now, Sarawakians are urged to take precautionary measures following the forecast of bad weather warnings to occur next week. The Malaysian Meteorological Department, or Met Malaysia, forecasted heavy rain and thunderstorms to occur in several parts of Sarawak, including Kuching, Betong, Muka, Sarike, Sibu and Bintulu on December 27 until December 30 due to the monsoon surge. According to Met Malaysia, a monsoon surge involves cold winds from Siberia that results in strong winds and rough conditions in the South China Sea. In accordance to the matter, the public are advised to heed the warning by Met Malaysia and be duly prepared for the possible need for evacuation as directed by authorities. Following the weather forecast by Met Malaysia regarding the expected thunderstorm in several states in the next few days, the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department JPBM has taken proactive measures to survey and monitor flood-prone areas in Sarawak, Pahang and Selangor.
Sejak daripada semalam sehingga hari ini, iaitu pemantauan harian yang paling banyaknya adalah di kawasan Sarawak. Kita telah melaksanakan 34 operasi pemantauan di Sarawak. Keduanya di Selangor, iaitu 20, dan di Pahang 13. Negeri-negeri lain kita buat juga, tetapi angkanya tidak sebesar ini. Dan penghantaran logistik totalnya seperti mana yang saya nyatakan tadi 29 dan sanitasi adalah 11 yang kita telah buat setakat 24 jam ini.
Hamdan made the statement during a press conference at their operation room located in Taman Sri Muda Shah Alam earlier today. He added, JPBM are constantly monitoring the evacuation operations in Taman Sri Muda until the situation is under control. "70 families from Sarawak affected by the devastating flood in Selangor were aided with food and basic necessities. The assistance will be channeled through Sarawak Volunteers and Sarawak Coordination Office in Kuala Lumpur, or known as PPSKL.
The contributions was handed over by PPSKL Director Awang Supian Awang Daud to those living in the Taman Sri Muda area of Shah Alam. At the same time, Senior Works Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, who is also the patron of Sarawak Volunteers, emphasized the need for Sarawakian families affected in the flood to be aided in times of hardships.
Supaya kita kerahkan untuk Sarawak Volunteers membantu melalui Rumah Sarawak dan sumbangan dia disalurkan untuk membantu hidupnya sama ada bentuk makanan dan juga bahan-bahan bagi hidupnya mencuci rumah lah selepas banjir habis apa semua. Dan kita fahamlah kepayahan yang dilalui dan oleh sedanya. Bantuan kita sih seberapa, tapi diharapkan dapat membantu meringankan bebanan sedanya.
Fadilah also added that more aid will be continued for Sarawakians who are affected by the flood, while those who are in need of assistance can reach out to Sarawak Volunteers by giving their address and contact number information.
Now, the floods which hit several states in the country has claimed 46 lives, while 5 men are still reported missing in Pahang. Selangor saw the highest total death with 25 fatalities involving 17 men and 8 women, while Pahang's death toll standing at 18 deaths involved 12 men, 4 women and 2 boys.
Di Selangor mencatatkan jumlah 25 kematian, di Pahang 18, di Kelantan 3. Ini menjadikan jumlahnya keseluruhan adalah 46, dan di sini juga kita dapati 5 mangsa masih lagi hilang dan kita berharap ia akan dapat ditemui secepat mungkin.
In other developments, Aqil Sani added that 377 police personnel had been mobilized nationwide to prevent housebreaking and car theft in areas affected by the floods.
Jumlah 15 kes telah dilaporkan bermula daripada 17 Disember sehinggalah 24 Disember. Alhamdulillah, setakat ini pada semalam tidak ada kes terbaru yang dilaporkan dan kita berharap ia akan kekal sedemikian.
When asked regarding the allegations of a flood victim who broke into a house to seek shelter which went viral on social media, Aqil Sani said investigations will be made prior to receiving a report. Meanwhile, as of 12:30 p.m. today, Perak has fully recovered from the floods. This was following the closure of 2 relief centres in the Hile Perak district, as disclosed by the Hile Perak district officer, Saidi Sha'ari. 95 victims from 24 families who were at the Dewan Bandaran Teluk Intan and Dewan Sekolah Menengah Abdul Rahman Talib relief centres were allowed to return to their homes. On the other hand, the flood situation in several other states has not seen positive progression, with a total of 43,289 people are still displaced and sheltered at relief centres. In Pahang alone, over 25,000 people are sheltered at 172 relief centres, as stated by its State Disaster Management Committee Secretariat. 36 roads were still closed in 4 districts, including Jalan Kuala Lumpur Kuantan, Jalan Gemas Temerloh, Jalan Temerloh Mentakap, among others. Selangor recorded 17,336 flood victims from 4,833 families, who are currently at 90 relief centres in the state. Kelantan, on the other hand, has seen a slight drop by noon today, where 160 people returned home out of 974 people. Malacca's number remained at 35 people, who are now sheltered at 2 relief centres in Alor Gajah and Jasin, respectively.
On to COVID update. The number of COVID-19 cases in Sarawak today recorded a slight increase, with 27 new cases registered today compared to a measly 19 cases recorded yesterday. This brings the cumulative number of cases in Sarawak to 252,175 cases. In a statement, the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee (SDMC) said of the total cases reported today, 11 cases were classified as Category 1 with no symptoms, while 14 cases were said to be of Category 2, where only mild symptoms emerged. One case was classified as Category 3 with lung infections, and another one was classified as Category 5, where the use of a ventilator is required. Sibu and Lawas both recorded 8 cases, followed by Kuching and Miri, where both districts registered 3 new cases. Bintulu today recorded 2 cases, while Limbang, Saratok and Selangor each recorded 1 case. SDMC also announced that 1 death due to the virus was recorded in Sri Aman today. The deceased, aged 24, has a medical history involving asthma, obesity, chronic heart disease and autoimmunity disease. On the other hand, SDMC revealed that no new cluster was detected in the state today.
Every little effort, every little things yang pola kami makin sayang lah. So although benda ya is simple, but that is the thing that matters to me.
Welcome back to TVS Nightline. Now, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah today urged the government to conduct a post-mortem on the drainage system in the country. This is in a bid towards addressing problems of flash floods in urban areas. Al-Sultan Abdullah took his time to meet the residents of Taman Sri Muda and handed over contributions to them and expressed his admiration for their perseverance in facing the situation. At the same time, His Majesty also called for financial institutions to play their role in helping to reduce the burden of flood victims by providing some flexibility to allow them time to recover their losses. Mobile communications infrastructures that were damaged by floods nationwide are rapidly addressed and is now at 60% completion. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said that more than 800 telecommunication towers were affected by the disaster nationwide and about 500 have been repaired. His ministry had also taken steps to provide portable generators at infrastructure locations without electricity supply. Coverage on wheels or COW, a mobile transmitter system, were also installed to provide temporary service coverage, which is commonly used during disasters and emergencies by service providers. Earlier, Anwar led a post-flood mission in several areas in Pahang involving Janda Baik, Bentong, Kara and Temerloh, which started at 10 a.m. On to some crime update. A senior citizen in Kluang, Johor, fell victim to the infamous Macau scam after losing more than 690,000 ringgit. The Chief Assistant Commissioner for Johor Commercial Criminal Investigation Department (CCID), Amran Muhammad Jusin, said the 74-year-old victim received a call from a self-claimed officer from the Inland Revenue Board (LHDN) on December 18, claiming that she had registered a company with an unpaid tax totaling to 55,800 ringgit. The call was then connected to a Bukit Aman police director that goes by the name Dato' Suhaimi, who sent a link to the victim's mobile phone and instructed her to open the link and to fill out all her personal information, including her bank details. The victim unknowingly provided personal information and access to 2 of her online banking accounts, as well as 1 joint account with her younger brother, who is in his 50s and is currently working in Singapore. According to Amran, the Bukit Aman director also instructed the victim to transfer all her savings to the account number provided for investigation purposes. He stated that the victim transferred over 312,000 ringgit to the account number given on Tuesday, December 21, which left the victim with a balance of 400,000 ringgit in both of her accounts. Upon checking and updating her accounts yesterday, December 24, she discovered that funds from both her accounts were also transferred out to an unknown account through Do It Now between Tuesday and yesterday, totaling 697,000 ringgit. Suspicious of being scammed, the victim then immediately filed a police report. The case is now being investigated under Section 420 of the Penal Code for fraud. Now, the spread of the Omicron variant in Malaysia has seen a major increase today, with 49 confirmed cases. This has brought the number of Omicron variant infections in Malaysia to a staggering 62 cases. As such, with the excitement of the Christmas and the upcoming New Year celebrations, the public are reminded to abide by the SOPs and to screen using the RTK antigen self-test kit before visiting.
Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said of the total, 61 cases are imported cases, while 1 is likely to be a local infection reported in Sarawak yesterday, December 24. He added that the Institute for Medical Research, IMR, conducted a PCR genotyping assay test on 145 COVID-19 positive samples among travellers from December 15 to 21, with 60 of them were identified presumptive Omicron variant. In addition, the Institute of Health and Community Medicine, University Malaysia Sarawak, IHCM UNIMAS, had detected 4 cases of the said variant. Effective December 22, the Sarawak government also required all travellers from abroad to be quarantined at the first point of entry into the country before being allowed to enter the state. They can only be released from quarantine if their RT-PCR test is negative. Due to the risk of the spread of the Omicron variant worldwide and its detection in Malaysia, the Health Ministry, MOH, together with other agencies, had taken action to strengthen control at international gateways and screening of high-risk groups.
On to the next news. Individuals undergoing the 7-day mandatory quarantine after returning from Umrah will be wearing a digital detection device effective next week. Such rule was implemented after 30 out of 40 new cases detected in the country have involved the highly contagious Omicron variant between December 23 to December 24. Now, these cases were imported from Saudi Arabia.
Bagi mereka yang pulang daripada Arab Saudi pada minggu depan, tertakluk kepada pelaksanaan nanti, kita akan minta supaya mereka pakai peranti digital tracker bagi mereka yang pulang daripada Arab Saudi untuk kita memastikan bahawa mereka patuh duduk di rumah.
Khairi also added that failure to adhere to the quarantine directive can potentially result in an increased transmission of Omicron variant infections in the country. Malaysia now records a total of 62 import cases and 1 local infection. In light of the new development, Malaysia will include Saudi Arabia in the list of high-risk countries along with 9 other countries, namely the United Kingdom, the United States, Denmark, Australia, France, Norway, Canada, India, and Nigeria. In addition, the government strongly encouraged those who intend to travel overseas to get their COVID-19 booster shots.
Welcome back to TVS Nightline. Now, Christmas, known as the season of giving, brings a lot of joy to everyone, especially to children. A group of volunteers from a non-governmental organization NGO dubbed the Sukarelawan Jalanan came bearing gifts for kids diagnosed with cancer to spread the joy of Christmas whilst motivating them in their ongoing battle with cancer.
According to Siti Nurbani Abdullah, the coordinator for the Gift Drive program in conjunction with Christmas Day, this was inspired from her personal experience where she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018.
On my birthday, 2018, I found out that I got cancer. Kami menjalani kemo sebanyak 6 kali. dan radioterapi 23 kali. Sebab kami masih ada anak-anak kecil, mas saya, so kami kuatkan semangat.
Siti Nurbani is still undergoing treatments and she vows to give back to those who are going through the same struggle.
Bila kami dah okey, kami start menyumbang balik. Kami ingin menyumbang balik kepada masyarakat dan kepada yang di luar yang sedang atau tahu kita ada kanser, please tolong fight, okey, jangan putus asa. InsyaAllah dengan keberkatan, dengan doa semua orang, InsyaAllah kita boleh baik.
The youngest volunteer, Ariel Justira, age 8, wore an Iron Man costume to enlighten the mood of the cancer patient kids.
Nama Agen
Umur kami 8 tahun. Yep. Pada kami minat sebagai Iron Man.
Minat
Sebagai Iron Man untuk menghibur kanak-kanak. Si kami yang hambaknya sebab dah 4 tahun sebelum tu macam berminat ananggar dia kanser nak macam sedih-sedih je. So kami mau hambaknya so untuk menghiburlah anak-anak yang pesakit lah macam tu lah. Jadi lah kami doa terus macam berminat hambaknya tu lah. Apa-apa aktiviti pun asal tidak call je kami doa mesti turun. Lagipun kami doa si mengharapkan imbuhan tu lah balasan ataupun apa-apa just untuk pergi just fun je macam tu lah. Just untuk happy je. Asal orang happy kami doa happy tu je.
Although it is the holiday season, some parents were not able to return to their hometown as they have to accompany their children who are currently undergoing treatments at the hospital. For Mi Imban, the best Christmas gift would be for her children to be in the pink of health, and it would be a Christmas miracle.
Hadiah yang paling istimewa untuk sempena Christmas tu nak kita berdoa lah untuk kesehatan dia. Ialah hadiah paling kita kak lah. Dulu memang mempunyai masa-masa saya baru tahu yang dia mendapat kanser. Saya rasa memang sedih. Tapi atas dorongan dan prayer dari semua kawan, thank God, puji Tuhan sampai sekarang masih kita mesti strong lah.
Hadiah Christmas aku minta anak aku gerai pakai subak meh ngojampat bayak ge dah minta ngagai Tuhan nya meh hadiah ke paling dipinta ko serta ngasuh selera nyawa yang makainya bisa baru menghirup susu pakai subak.
Right. The Christmas spirit in New York City was marred as many queued up to get themselves tested for COVID-19. Although self-test kits were distributed, many still lined up to get themselves screened during Christmas Eve as infections spiked, driven by the Omicron variant, which has contributed almost 90% of infections in the city. Last Friday alone, New York reported more than 44,000 new COVID infections, shattering all other states' records in the country. The average number of United States coronavirus cases has risen 45% to 179,000 per day over the past few weeks. This has also hit the healthcare system hard as hospitals have yet to recover from the previous COVID infection caused by the Delta variant. New York City plans to sharply limit the number of patrons to Times Square for its annual outdoor New Year's Eve celebration, capping the number of attendees to 15,000. Two more Hong Kong universities have removed public sculptures as a cause for the 1989 Tiananmen protests, which started in Beijing. Both sculptures depicted the goddess of democracy were removed from Hong Kong Chinese University and the Hong Kong Liangnan University. This was following the dismantling of a statue marking victims of the crackdown at another university earlier this week.
The erection of the statue in Tiananmen Square in 1989 and the commissioned Tiananmen Massacre Wall relief sculpture were symbols of the people's aspiration in pursuing liberty and democracy in China, which has been ruled under communism for centuries. The removal of both sculptures have angered the artist, Chen Wei-ming, who will resolve to a lawsuit if there was any damage done to his works.
那么现在我都不知道这个雕塑去了哪里，是被销毁了呢，还是 还存在有没有损毁。那这样的话呢，我呢掌握更多的资料呢，我会在美国寻找律师，进一步采取法律行动，因为他们这样做是违反法理的，也是违反情理的。因为这个雕塑是原来他们愿意在香港中文大学，因为第二任校长我是听他说过，就是他是接纳这个雕塑。
To address this statement, the Lingnan University has made a statement to a news outlet that the sculpture has been stored appropriately as it was classified as an item that may pose legal and safety risks. Similarly, a towering red picture of the goddess of democracy in the university's student union main hall was painted over with grey paint, prompting students to paste a sheet of paper with the word shameful, but was quickly ripped off by security guards.
是吧？那这一系列的行为，它是要把那种真实记录历史东西都进行铲除。所以说呢，这个雕塑，这几个雕塑吧，包括高先生的国殇之柱，那么要被铲除，我是不会太感到意外啊。那么这次他们的联合行动，在风高月黑的晚上，是吧？这他们也知道是见不得人的，他们在白天怕被人拍到这个那个行动，是吧？丢脸，是吧？所以说他们晚上就像小偷一样，偷偷摸摸的给移掉了。这说明也是他们的心虚啊，他们也感到这个是不光彩，见不得光啊。所以说呢，这个雕塑移走以后呢，我也想到就是，香港的自由已经死了，香港的法治也已经死了。
Earlier this week, the University of Hong Kong dismantled an 8-meter-tall pillar of shame statue from its campus. The statue has been erected for more than 2 decades to commemorate pro-democracy protesters killed during China's Tiananmen Square crackdown in 1989. The disappearance of these 3 symbolic monuments means that there are now hardly any remaining public Tiananmen memorials in the financial hub.
狀況係感到都驚訝嘅，因為始終呢一個嘅標像咧係放置喺呢個位置多一段嘅時間啦，同埋已經係成為咗中大人一個重大嘅風景啦，都習以為常喺呢個位置上面啦。咁可能呢個咁重要一個咁有象徵意義嘅標像都係一夜之間去唔見咗咧，咁對呢樣嘢都係感到好震驚啦。
Now the Christmas celebration continues because it fell on the weekend, so I hope if you continue to celebrate Christmas tomorrow, make sure you celebrate it in an moderate manner. I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Stay safe and good night.
Anak yang tidak mendapat cukup makanan berkhasiat berisiko mengalami masalah berat badan, susut serta bantut. Kurang zat makanan akan menyebabkan anak kita kelihatan kecil dan rendah dari rakan sebaya, sering sakit, tidak aktif, bermasalah dalam pembelajaran, tidak produktif, kurang keyakinan